And I'm John.
And we're the geezers on the go.
Go, go, go!
This time we're at Buck Hall Recreation Area in the Francis Marion National Forest, not far from Charleston, South Carolina. This is one of our favorite hidden gems, only 14 RV sites and right along the Intracoastal Waterway. If you like to fish, or eat, or just spread out under the Spanish moss, you might want to check out this spot. Well, we're here at Buck Hall Recreation Area in McClellanville, South Carolina. It's part of the Francis Marion National Forest. Some of you might know him by a different name as the Swamp Fox, maybe made from Disney famous. And these are beautiful sites right on the Intercoastal Waterway. They're gigantic, as you can tell. It's all this space here. There's only 14 sites here. It's water and electric, and table and fire pit. One big loop. Sort of off the beaten trail, but it's a lovely place. And this is our site number 12, and the wind's picking up a little bit. It had rained earlier in the day, now the wind is coming, and my little wheelies are going a million miles an hour. It's looking towards site 11. Again, as you walk up to here, you can see the water down at the Intercoastal Waterway. Sailboats go by. We've seen barges. Maybe we'll see one. One big loop that goes around, and they give you plenty of space. You can see nice paved sites. Most of them have two of those big metal hooks that you can hang your food or lights on, and all of them you can see right to out to the water. We start out here at site number 1. Goes in and around. So lots of space here. There's that same guy coming in. It's a cool school bus RV. We talked to the owner who did the conversion of this bus himself, and he invited us in for a quick tour of his retro masterpiece. Who could say no?
What was the name of that restaurant we went to the other day?
T.W. Graham's in McClellanville.
Oh, yeah. Man, was that good.
Oh, they had all kinds of fresh seafood. You had oysters.
I had oysters and scallops.
And I had a cool grilled shrimp salad with black-eyed peas.
Which they call the caviar of the South.
Yeah, that was so good. And if you want to just go buy some fresh seafood, there's a place called the Carolina Market, which is right down by the wharf, and they bring in fresh shrimp almost every day. We had some of the, I guess they were the jumbo shrimp. That only sounds like an oxymoron, but yeah, they were so good and so plump and so juicy. It's just, you just never want to buy anything frozen again or farm raised, because it's just too good.
And then of course that's your favorite place for what?
Oh, pickled shrimp. They make a thing called pickled shrimp. I've never had it anyplace else. It's sort of in a tomato base with slightly spicy with shrimp and vinegar.
Jill, it had been 2 years since we've been here.
I know.
So Jill's waited 2 years now for more pickled shrimp, because they won't ship it or anything.
So I bought a couple and froze them so we can have them along the way.
Yeah, she cheats.
But there's other thing that's they're noted for down here is they make these what they call sweetgrass baskets. They're all handcrafted, handmade, and you'll see little stands along the highway here. And they're not cheap. They can get up into the hundreds, but I managed to find one place that made these earrings out of them and only cost me $25. And the gentleman
What a bargain. Why didn't you buy two? Oh, you did buy two.
But the gentleman kept telling me he was selling the things for his wife. He said that she was a weaver and a potter, so in the store had both kinds of things, and they were just so pretty.
It's kind of amazing, McClellanville being so small. There's two great diners up on up on the main road too, Seawee and
the McClellan Diner.
Is that what the
McClellanville Diner? Yeah.
Yeah. And they're both great. They're only open for breakfast and lunch, but T.W. Graham's open for dinner too.
I think the Seawee's open for dinner too. So.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not the other one. Only.
I think the Seawee, they said, was built in an old gas station.
Yes, but
yeah.
The food didn't smell or anything.
Didn't smell like diesel or anything.
But it's just, again, a fun place to visit, whether you want to go any place or just sit and enjoy watching the boats go by. This is the launch area for your boat. It's kind of nice because you have, once you get in, down at the end, you can get out and just tie up your boat until you park your car and trailer. And they also offer a fishing pier. Also near the boat launch here, there's a fish cleaning station. So if you catch some fish, you can clean it off right there. Right next to the parking lot and right near the boat launch, there's also an area here you can picnic, either if you're fishing or just coming for the day. There's also a little pavilion, so if you have a few people. And there's some good paved trails here, so you could ride your bike. And it also, the park connects to what's called the Palmetto Trail. It's a big, long hiking trail that goes through the state. As I noted before, Buck Hall is the beginning of the Palmetto Trail, and this says trailhead starts here right near the boat launch, and the trail goes throughout the state, and we're right, you can see we're right there. Here's the Intercoastal Waterway, and we're here, and it goes all the way through South Carolina. This is this part of the trail. Part of it has a boardwalk, and this one, looks like they started it and put the boardwalk right around the palm tree. Kind of interesting. The Palmetto Trail. From the ocean to the mountains of northwest South Carolina, the Palmetto Trail covers about 500 miles. The trail is mostly unpaved and can be used by hikers, cyclists, or horseback riders. It was established in 1994 and completed in 2004. We're in a town called McClellanville, not to be confused with the old
don't make the
Union General.
Don't make the mistake of thinking it's named after the Union General McClellan. It's actually named after one of the town fathers.
Right. And this place, you are actually about 35 miles from Charleston if you wanted to go there, but you're sort of in the middle of nowhere almost here. There's not a lot around. There's a few really cool little restaurants or diners, and there's a old rice plantation you can visit. Was the Hampton Plantation, and that was interesting.
Yeah, in fact, they said that the Hampton Plantation is one of the best places to do stargazing at night because there's no cities around
no ambient
wash
light.
out the sky.
Yeah. But if you want to go someplace and visit, you can do that. You're also not that far from Georgetown, which is probably about 30 miles to the north.
Or Mount Pleasant.
Or Mount Pleasant to the south. Or if you wanted to go all the way up to Myrtle Beach, it's about a 60-mile drive. But it's nice just to be here with nothing to do. Okay, enough with sitting around. We are the geezers on the go after all, so we decided to soak up some of the history. We're at Hampton Plantation. It's about 13 miles from Buck Hall, and it's a plantation that was a big rice plantation. They have tours here. Not today for the inside, but you can walk around and shows you how a working plantation was back then. And there's a little trail we're going to go on, and it's called the Enslaved Community Trail. It shows you where the slaves lived. And we'll go check that out. It says here this is the path that the slaves would have walked through while working on this plantation, and it says between the 1700s and 1800s about 100 slaves lived on the grounds, tending to crops and the house and the livestock. There's an area right here where there used to be a slave house. There's sort of, I don't know how well this will come out, but it shows you a little glass picture here of what it might have looked like. And there's still the foundation of the house. Right? Rice was a big crop back here in the 1800s, and back there now where all the overgrown, it says, was a big rice field here. Carolina rice was world known for its rice, this area.
You said the descendants of slaves cultivated these fields until 1915.
Oh.
What's it say, Jill?
It says that there was different places marked what they had to do each day. It's called a task system. They would set a certain amount of work for every day for a slave to complete. When they finished, they could leave the field. If you finished early, you could leave.
Hampton Plantation is a state historic site, preserved so we might get a glimpse into our own past and never forget. It also tells the story of freed slaves who continued on here as landowners and farmers well after emancipation in 1865. This chimney was part of a house that was built after the slaves, and it was owned by 6 generations of black people who lived on the area where the plantation was. There's the house, there's a creek, and there's part of the dike system. Would have held back the waters or brought it in depending on when they needed it. Those dikes that brought in the tidal water and carried fresh water into the fields, they were actually called the Santee style of dikes, because they were sort of developed down here. There's the North Santee River, and we're in the Santee area. This is part of the Rutledge Gardens back here. There's lots of flowering trees, some little rock formations, I guess, maybe that made up some little buildings or markers at one point. But it's a very pretty walk up to the plantation house, all lined with these pretty colored flowers. I think they're camellias. And then when you get up a little farther, there's actually a grave site for one of the Rutledges. And here it is. This is the main house at Hampton Plantation near Georgetown, South Carolina. During the height of its rice production, the plantation grounds held as many as 100 slaves. This is what it would have looked like sitting on the porch of the Hampton Plantation back in the old days. This was the cookhouse for the Hampton Plantation. They said they baked a lot of bread here and other kinds of foods for the main house. It's like a big place to cook. Here's a little peek inside the kitchen. I'm guessing in the olden days
People come and sit under this big tree. I bet you it's that old. John's sitting there resting.
They call it the Washington tree because during a visit here in 1791, George prevented it from being chopped down, making up for that cherry tree of his youth, no doubt. But just like Washington, we eventually had to move on. And so we thank you for joining us at Buck Hall, and as always, we hope to see you down the road.
Stop! Stop! Stop!